A very warm welcome to StudyIQ, my dear friends. I am Prashant Mavani. I hope you all are doing good. Today is 19th November 2020. I would like to start today's discussion with this quote by Mark Newson. To create well, I have to be in a good mood, happy and cool. It is very important that whenever you are doing something, right, let's say if you are studying, then make sure that you are cheerful. The more cheerful, the more happy you are, the more productive you are going to be. And one thing that I would like to tell you about mood is that you can control your mood. Don't let your mood control you. There are so many ways and techniques through which you can control your mood. So practice them and always make sure that you are in the driving position when it comes to your mood. With this difference, if you are preparing for Civil Services Examination, if you are preparing for UPSC, then we have a dedicated smart course for UPSC which will cover your prelims as well as mains examination. To find out more about it, all you have to do is download our mobile application. On our table, we have 5 articles from various different newspapers. We have 2 articles from the Hindu newspaper. We have one from Millennium Post, very important for your mains examination and necessary redressal. This one is about bureaucracy, very important topic for your mains, for your interview. Tainted Candidates, this one is about, of course, politics, and very important for your, of course, prelims, mains as well as interview, as well as your overall understanding. And then we have 2 articles. They are based on India-US relationship. So let's start our discussion with the first one, Reinventing Cities. Reimagining of urban planning and development to make cities and towns healthy and livable is very important, right? Our cities are also known as, we call our urban areas as growth engine or growth engines of our economy. Right? Our urban areas are like engines. They are like pistons and cylinders that are constantly working to give a sort of thrust as well as speed to the growth as well as development of our cities as well as our economy and our whole economy. Not cities, but cities are like engines of our growth. Now, dear friends, I'm sure most of us, we have experience of living in a city area. And, if I give you this option that all the facilities, right, facilities like internet, 24/7 electricity, mobile connectivity, tap water, cleanliness, not cleanliness, you don't find, our cities are not that clean, right? So I'm dropping that thing. But if you find all these basic things, internet, mobile connectivity included, good education, health facility, 24/7 electricity, all these things, then value and good job, let's say, or maybe you can work from home, or if you're doing a business, then you can produce these things in your village area and then you can supply it to city area. If I tell you that all these facilities, urban amenities will be given to you in your village, then will you migrate to city? I'm sure many of us will say, or majority of us will say that no, I would love to live in village or small town if I get that good salary, that good money, all those facilities that I find in metro city. Yes, sometimes I will go there for shopping, and sometimes I will go there for just for watching a movie or eating out or something. But I would like to stay in town. The reason is we find clean air. We find people who we know them from our childhood, so you don't have to live in unsafe or a strange environment that we find in most of our cities. The other thing about our cities is that sound pollution, air pollution, water pollution, they are too expensive, they are crowdy, right, densely populated, and you don't find, and most of our cities, right, city administration is not capable enough to provide equal facilities to each and every single individual as well as each and every area. And in Chennai or in Mumbai and in so many other cities, right, this is a very common thing that few households or few areas, they are very neat, clean, tap water facilities available to all the citizens or people living in that particular area. In the next door area, you find that cleanliness is not that great, tap water facility and schools and other things are not that great in that area. So there is a clear divide. We have posh areas and poor areas in a city. That itself tells so many things about our city or cities. And this COVID-19 spread. One of the main reason for rapid transmission was densification. It is in fact nearly impossible in our big cities to maintain or practice social distancing. Good affordable housing is the cornerstone of a sustainable and healthy city, which we don't have it. It is too expensive. Even to rent a flat, 1 BHK flat in good area in Mumbai is very, very expensive. And for any other city, if you see other cities, right, one basic thing is that, see, the nature of any city is most of the people in a city, they have or they are migrants. They are coming from various different parts of our country. They are in many cities you find people coming from various different parts of this world. So most of them are migrant, and of course they don't have any property in that city. So in their initial phase, they will look for something. They will look for a house on rent. But if house on rent is just provided by your private money, if I have extra money and if I purchase a house and then I give it to rent, if this sort of houses are available, then of course the demand is high, the supply is low, so the price is going to be up. For any city to flourish, once we know this basic fact that it is your migrants who are going to put extra, they play a very important role in growth and development of a city. So first of all, they need to have something, they need a shelter. And for that, government should create this sort of shelters. Rental housing facilities should be created by the government. But we know it very well, and it is an open secret that when it comes to air pollution, municipal solid waste management, water quality, rental housing, all these things are hardly enforced, and they are just, for the namesake. They are like a tokenism thing. See the example of Mumbai. Mumbai is estimated to have added only 5% of rental housing in new residential construction from 1961 to 2000. We are talking about 4 decades, and that too led by private funding. And that's one of the main reasons why it is nearly impossible for a layman to purchase a house in Mumbai. And whatever you get, right, even if you are renting a flat or something, then it's going to be very expensive. Most of your income, a big chunk, 30-40% or more than that, in some cases 50%, will just, you are paying just a high rent. That's it. Then if you see the history of cities like London, particularly London, then you will find that London was infamous for Thames was very polluted, air pollution was quite high, streets were full of horse dungs and things. London was a very filthy city, and because of that it has faced plagues and so many other diseases. So finally the management or the administration or the government of UK decided that they need to sort out this, and capital cannot be this bad. So they started making changes with so many things, and today we know that London is a very beautiful and clean city. Of course, we find parts of London where things are not that great, but if you compare it with India, then it is 10-15 times better. Even their bad areas are 10-15 times cleaner than our cities. So what is the main thing? What we need here, right? We know this is a problem. What is the solution for this thing? These points are not covered in this article, but I would like to add on things here. And I strongly believe that we need independent mayoral system or mayor system in our cities. This, I'm sure you have watched this Batman and this sort of movies where you have, a mayor in a city, he or she is taking all the final decisions. He is the main person. And this is not just imaginary thing you find in city like London city. You have a mayor of London who is a very powerful person. Same thing goes with Tokyo. Same thing goes with Seoul, and so many other, like New York mayor. So why we need strong mayors? Because in our cities, what happens is that cities are important, but you have these three layers. In a state. And or let's say two layers. Let's talk about two layers. When I say three layers, I'm talking about central government, state government, and your local government. But when it comes to a city, then we have two layers. You have your city level and you have your state level. So in cities as well, your ruling party, or you can say the chief minister or chief minister's office will take all the major decisions. And the reason is because you want more votes. Right? It should be like whatever changes will take place in your city, you will find the name of your chief minister. But chief minister is a person who is not, is good for your overall state management or state administration. But when it comes to cities, we need someone local. We need a mayor. We need a person who is living in that city. We need a person who can take decisions about that particular city. May it be urban planning. So we need a very, very strong mayor office in our cities. They should be independent. They should have enough power and protection that they can take independent decisions. If we have this sort of thing, if we can create this sort of thing, then I think there are chances that we can sort out our cities. Now, this topic is very important for your mains examination. If you go through your syllabus, then you will find that urbanization and migration and issues associated with urbanization is part of your syllabus. Dear friends, to download the PDF of today's lecture, check out my Telegram channel. You can follow me on Facebook as well. Hit the like button if you have learned something from today's discussion. Please make sure that you share this lecture with other students. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button. The second topic is also interesting and important for your mains examination. Dear friends, so far we have talked about, many times we have talked about NPAs, right? That is non-performing assets. So these are the loans, bad loans, you can say. Today we are going to talk about NPOs. So NPOs is non-performing officers, and we know so many of them, isn't it? We know so many non-performing officers in our government departments, central level, state level, local level. We have seen so many of them. We know how they work. But before I throw more light on this topic, I want to make it absolutely clear that I am not at all saying that all officers, all government employees are bad. That is factually incorrect to say, because whatever development we have achieved, whatever good things are going on, it is because of these POs. POs means performing officers. Hats off to these people. They are facing so many odds, they are facing so many challenges, but then as well, they are walking extra miles and they are trying to deliver as much as they can. So we need to respect them. But of course, we have non-performing officers as well. And to get rid of it is one of the most important thing that we need to do. We need to get rid of this sort of NPOs. These NPOs are like cancer. It's like, this saying that few rotten apples destroy the entire pack. They destroy the environment in which we can perform. I'll give you one example. Just imagine if you are supposed to be in a meeting and the meeting is at 10 a.m. in the morning time, right? So every one of you are there except one person. One person is late. Now you cannot start this meeting because of this person. This person is not there yet. If this person arrives at 10 past 10, then it is like a punishment to all those people who have arrived early on. Or all those punctual people, they will suffer. They have lost their 10 minutes. And if you calculate like 5 people's 10 minutes, then you have lost 50 minutes. Just because of one person. And it's not just minutes, it is also this energy and environment. This person has destroyed this energy. Same thing goes with a non-performing officer. He or she can pollute your performance environment. And if we just get rid of these non-performing officers, then we can achieve both quality as well as quantity. Quality of life will increase, and it will also increase our gross domestic product and other indicators associated with it. This line is very interesting that we find in today's article, that India's most wanted freedom movement of the present times is our liberation from the clutches of inept officers. This is the biggest freedom movement that we need. And once let's hope that we will achieve this thing one day, but the day when we will achieve it, we will see a 40% all-round better performance in human development indices. May it be Atmanirbhar Bharat or national education policy. We can create best policies, we can create best theories, but they will not achieve anything if we cannot implement them. And the reason why we cannot implement them thoroughly is because of these NPOs. NPOs, they love to see files traveling from one desk to another, and they would like to keep it as long as possible. And making files go in circles is something that they are expert in, and that's how they make money. Recently, Nitin Gadkari was absolutely, he was livid. He was very angry on this sort of officers who are like wasting huge amount of our time. Because of this officers, because of this NPO, he said that we are not able to achieve our targets and they should be shown exit door. This sort of people, they should be kicked out. Rather, POs should drive the NPOs out. That's what we know. If you are, let's say, if you are a performer, right, then you should you should see a clear. The ladder should be, or you can say, if you are a performer, then you should be promoted. Appraisal should take place. And if you are a non-performer, then you should be afraid of this fact that you will lose your job. You will be given a sort of, forced retirement. You will be kicked out of system. You will be picked and kicked out of the system if you don't perform this. The day when we will find this fear in government offices, I'm sure we will see a big change. But keep this thing in mind that without this change, we are not going to see any change in terms of quantity, in terms of quality. When I say any, I mean to say that we are not going to achieve our potential. Maybe our dream of $5 trillion economy, or if we want to achieve double-digit growth, if we want to be good in health, education, and all these other quality of life things, it's not possible without getting rid of these NPOs. And NPOs are also, they create huge amount of damage to our social fabric as well. These days, there are people who, or youngsters, they want to join. Tell me if I'm right or wrong, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. I have seen youngsters, right? I have seen them, and a few years ago, I'm talking about, let's say, I'm talking about 4 or 5 years ago, 2015, 2016. I came across few youngsters. They were preparing for banking examination, SBI, and they were preparing for this IBPS. And when I asked them, I was just curious to know why they want to join banking sector. And they said that it's very easy life. They were just joining it because they're getting good salary and nearly no work at all. But these days banks are very busy because of so many schemes going on. So God bless them, those people who joined banks just for chilling out throughout their life. But the big problem is that mentality. This sort of mentality is not acceptable at all in Japan. If a person with this sort of mentality, laziness is something that is considered very bad in Japan. In India as well, we need to create this culture that if you are corrupt, if you are lazy, if you are not performing, then that should be the biggest, bad point in any person, biggest negative point in any person. If you'll be rejected socially as well, then I think we will find a change. That's my personal opinion about it. What do you think about it? Stick your views in the comment section. With this, dear friends, Tainted candidates. We know that in our country, to win election, you need two things, right? These are proven things. It's not just me saying it. There are so many reports, so many data available on this thing, and just look at in your area as well. You'll find this thing that if you have two things in our country, the first one is money power, and the second thing is muscle power. When I say muscle power, I'm not talking about your weight, and I'm not talking about your actual physical muscles. I'm talking about your what do we say? If you are a gangster type of person, if you are a goon, if you are a like a name that if your name comes in, then people will be scared of. If you are this type of person, then naturally you are going to make money in our country, because there are so many illegal ways of making money, and if you have this money and muscle power, then chances of you winning election is quite high. And political parties as well, they love to give tickets to this sort of people, because their victory factor, or their chances of winning election is quite high. Now, on Monday, the Apex Court rightly put the onus on the Parliament to decide on debarring tainted politicians from contesting elections. But in our Parliament as well, 43% people in our Parliament, our MPs, they are facing some sort of criminal cases. Back in 2018, a 5-judge constitution bench had in September 2018 described criminalisation of politics as a termite to the citadel of democracy, but hastened to add that the court could not usurp the power of lawmaking vested with the legislature. Making law is in the hands of Parliament. Interpretation of that law is duty of courts. So a court cannot do anything about, when it comes to making law. It can provide guidelines and things, but making law is the domain of Parliament. But unfortunately, in our Parliament, we have 43% plus people, they are facing some sort of, criminal cases. And they are not going to, it's quite logical, right? They are not going to support a law that is going to be harmful to them. If you go through the latest data by Association for Democratic Reforms, ADR says that half of the winning candidates in just concluded Bihar Assembly elections have serious criminal cases against them. Murder, rape, kidnapping, etc. In February this year, days after Delhi Assembly polls, the Supreme Court had ordered political parties to uphold details of pending criminal cases against their candidates and specify reasons for preferring the tainted ones to those with an unblemished record. But implementation is very weak. One of the main reasons for the generation of black money is also criminals in politics. Political parties, they are going to give this type of people, they will get ticket, right? And the reason why they get ticket is because it is us, right? You and I, we vote for this sort of criminals. We vote for this sort of goons. We vote for this sort of people, bad people, right? We want them to be our leader. So no one can help us. So we need to change our own thinking. We need to change our taste. Then only you will see good people in politics. We cannot just keep on, we cannot blame politicians and political parties, right? We are equally responsible for this sort of mess. Moving on to next item. This one is about India and USA. Now, it is very basic thing to understand, and it is very important as well to understand that when it comes to two nations, particularly big nations, democratic nations who are global players like US and India, so you cannot have, like if you have 10 items on your table, then you will find that on 7 items we are on same page, on 3 items we don't agree with each other, and this is very natural. So the goal should be to ensure a Venn diagram where the area of convergence is large and growing and the other parts are marginal and shrinking. And to be honest, that's what both nations have tried, and I think we are reasonably successful as well in this thing. If you see from the time of Manmohan Singh ji, and you see the era of Barack Obama, then Prime Minister Modi came in, and then Mr. Trump came in. So if you see 4 administrations, 2 of USA, 2 of India, then we find that all 4 have tried to achieve this sort of Venn diagram where convergence is larger and growing and other parts are marginal and shrinking. Late night, Prime Minister Modi and President-elect Joe Biden, they had this telephonic conversation, and they talked about 3 important things. The first one is COVID-19 pandemic, which is of course a priority for both nations. Then they talked about long-term potential, and that is one thing that with considerable long-term potential, and that is climate. So of course USA is going to join Paris Agreement. We want or we should make sure that USA becomes part of ISA as well. The other thing is that we need more money for green energy, as well as transition from conventional to renewable energy. And for that we need money and technology, and USA can of course provide this thing to us. And the last topic was, and the third important topic is not the last, but I would say third important pillar or topic was Indo-Pacific region. So what about China? Now we know that Mr. Biden and his advisors, they accept China as a strategic competitor, as a threat. But the details will, or the main thing will be, the devil is in the tactical details. So how Biden administration will deal with China is the biggest question, right? So when I say how, I'm talking about means it is going to be diplomatically, right? But how? That is something that we have to wait and watch. This one, new challenges, it's also about the same topic. Now, according to the readouts, the leaders committed to strengthening the Indo-US comprehensive global strategic partnership and cooperating on global challenges, including the COVID-19 pandemic, affordable vaccines, climate change, and Indo-Pacific region, which we have already discussed. One thing that we have to prepare ourselves for is to, we will see some sort of lectures coming from USA on Jammu and Kashmir and Citizenship Amendment Act, but this issue should not we should not shy away from this thing, and we should try to explain our stand, and we should try to educate Biden administration about Jammu and Kashmir and Citizenship Amendment Act. And of course, affordable vaccine is going to be the first priority. Both nations, they have some 11 million cases so far, and we have some 7 or 8 million cases. So we are number 1 and number 2 in terms of COVID-19. So it is important that both of us produce as much, in terms of quantity, as many vaccines as possible, and distribution should be as smooth, and we can learn from each other. So these are going to be our priorities, and these are some news items. You can download the PDF and go through all of them, of course, and I will see you soon with daily financial news analysis. Till then, enjoy your studies. I have one question for you. Let me know the names of the countries who are part of BIMSTEC, BIMSTEC. Stick your answer in the comment section. Thank you very much for watching this video. I'm sure you will share this lecture with other students, and you will also subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you very much for your love and support. Jai Hind.